Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the Melissa Skerritt Foundation rolls out a plan to secure the vulnerable elderly population for the hurricane season. Liat employees facing a 50% cut in severance payments, and the Dominica State College launches a certificate course in agriculture in response to public demand. The details coming up.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
First up in the news, special assistance to the elderly during the hurricane season. Here is Andrea Louis with more.
This is the current focus of the Melissa Skerritt Foundation as the 2020 hurricane season has been forecast to be above average. The foundation, which primarily caters to less fortunate school children, also lends assistance to mothers, the elderly, and other vulnerable groups in society. Founder of the foundation and Member of Parliament for the Roseau Central constituency, Melissa Skerritt, says it is important to make sure the elderly are well prepared for the hurricane season.
The elderly we have been very closely in touch with, specifically over the past few months, providing them with their basic necessities. Usually their requests are medication, and so we have assisted quite a bit of elderly in different constituencies. And even as we speak right now, we are preparing them for the hurricane season with safety equipment, flashlights, radios, and other supplies that they would need during that time. Because as you know, we are expecting a higher than normal hurricane season. And so they are the most vulnerable during that time. And so we are now reaching out to them and finding their needs and preparing them for whatever comes our way.
On a whole, the level of programs run by the foundation had been scaled down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, individuals were still able to benefit from the projects.
Over the past few months, although there has been a slight delay, I've still been able to run the programs on a much smaller scale, and that is specifically to the elderly and the single mothers. So I believe as the borders open up, as things return to normalcy, as normal as it can be, I think all my programs will be in full effect, most likely towards the end of the year.
The Dominica State College is doubling efforts to groom farmers to boost the country's agriculture sector. The Dominica State College will be offering a 1-year certificate course in agriculture. Public Relations and Recruitment Officer with the State College, Monel Alexis, says the 1-year certificate course was created in response to public demand.
The Academic Council of the Dominica State College has approved a new certificate program in agriculture to meet the growing needs for training of individuals pursuing agriculture and for farmers already working their farms who need added training in the science of production. The certificate program is a 1-year program and will cover courses in soil science, farm practice, crop production, animal husbandry, and farm management. Currently, we have a 2-year associate degree in agriculture program for students wishing to go on to bachelor's degree and work within the agricultural industry. Over the years, many students and the public have been asking for a shorter training program in the field of agriculture.
Ms. Alexis says President of the State College, Dr. Donald Peters, fully endorses this move, saying the college continues to develop and shape its courses to meet national demand.
Dr. Donald Peters, President of the Dominica State College, expressed his support for the program. He said, "Developing this 1-year certificate program in agriculture is a continued manifestation of DSC's ability to take initiative to respond to national needs in all areas of our economy. Last week, we graduated 25 nurses for the health industry. This week, we are launching a program that will enhance our agricultural outcomes and train our farmers in different aspects of scientific farming. We encourage the public to take advantage of this certificate in agriculture program. and other programs that we offer here at the Dominica State College.
Liat workers being asked to agree to a 50% cut in severance payments following a meeting with the union on Tuesday. Government's Chief of Staff Lionel Max Hurst says while a 30% cut was proposed, Prime Minister Gaston Brown indicated that it may not be sufficient. According to the Chief of Staff, any proposal would need to be taken to the shareholder governments as an alternative to liquidating the airline. Prime Minister Brown also addressed the employees along with Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union, along with General Secretary David Messiah. The discussion centered around Liat staff members and creditors taking a 50% reduction in liabilities due to them. Suggestions for duty waivers, entrepreneurship funding, land leasing for agricultural purposes, among others, are on the table. Prime Minister Brown has also discussed his plans for the regional carrier. The ABWU said after deliberation, the workers discussed and arrived at an acceptable severance payout under the prevailing conditions. It is not said what the amount agreed to is. The union, following further discussions, will present the positions of the workers coming out of the meeting. These positions should be forwarded to the Prime Minister no later than Friday. Prime Minister Alan Chasney says investing in the new entity which would replace Liat can be considered. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown announced that the regional airline was to be liquidated following years of financial woes, adding that a new airline would need to take its place to maintain connectivity within the Caribbean. Prime Minister Chasney said on Monday, "I don't know what the new entity is." He said, I quote, "We've only gotten news that Liat itself is going into liquidation, and I know the Prime Minister of Antigua has indicated that he would like to put an airline together. So when we understand what the entity is and how it is going to operate, that is something we could give consideration to." According to the St. Lucian Prime Minister, there have already been several other airlines who have made applications to replace Liat, which has been servicing the region for over 4 decades. Chasney declared, "Now that the oak tree is gone, the grass will grow." In December 2019, 8 directors were selected to join the new Liat chairman, former Prime Minister of Barbados Owen Arthur, to help restructure the entity. Chasney said a lot of people were skeptical that if Liat went under, there would be no replacement to it, and we are seeing 6 airlines step up to the plate. This is a sector he believes should have as minimal government investment as possible, with proper policies in place to encourage the growth of the industry. In January 2020, Prime Minister Alan Chasney maintained his position in not supporting the cash-strapped regional carrier despite the installment of a new board of directors and chairman. And as of Tuesday, July 7, the number of individuals in government quarantine is down to 7. There were 9 on Monday. Currently, there are no contacts under investigation. All 18 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Dominica have recovered, and the 152 contacts identified have all been cleared. To date, Dominica has recorded no COVID-19 related deaths. You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
Are you still washing your hands regularly, wearing your mask in public, and practicing social distancing? 0 cases does not mean COVID-free. Stay home if you're not well to keep others from getting sick. Continue to avoid crowds in public spaces. Always keep your guard up. We're still fighting this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
The restoration works on the floor of Our Lady of Haven Cathedral to be completed by August at the latest. Here's Andrea Louis with the details.
That's the projection from Bishop of Roseau, His Lordship Gabriel Malzé. Renovation of the Our Lady of Haven Cathedral began years ago, which initially started with the roof, then expanded to other parts of the building as the project got underway. Bishop Malzé says to date, work on the cathedral's flooring is ongoing.
We are at the stage where the floor is being worked on. So that is where it is at the moment. So by August, the floor should be completed. Initially, when we had thought of it, in fact, all now it should have been, but there have been all kinds of delays in the process. So at the moment, we can say safely that come July, August, the floor should be completed. So that's what they're working on. So it's kind of an invisible work going on. But now they are doing the floors, which is more intricate than I thought, because you have to think of the electrical works and the conduits and this and that. Then we have the question of the crypt that has to be protected, and the positions of the altar. Everything is in precision.
The COVID-19 outbreak in Dominica had also impacted the pace of works on the cathedral.
They do the best, yeah. They work with the masks, and they try to keep the social distancing as is required, yeah. So which means, and that too has kind of slowed down the work, because with the shorter hours and the distancing that they have to keep, the protocol generally, and it certainly slows down the process.
The total value of the cathedral renovation project had increased from $2.5 million to $12 million when the scope of works widened as the project progressed. Bishop Malsey admits that fundraising has generally been difficult, but over the past few months, this has been compounded with the COVID-19 pandemic.
If there is ongoing encouragement for fundraising, everyone is struggling right now. Those who are losing jobs, those who have less and who have to protect the little that they have. I'm certainly not making excuses for them, but this is the reality. I mean, you know, to the business places that I could go to and say that, okay, we have this need or that need, you know, they have their own struggles as well. I mean, these are the kinds of things that, and when we do not know when this is going to end, and how the future holds. The last time we had checked in terms of we have spent almost $9 million on the project. So what would be required now would be about $3 million we need to raise. When
the flooring is complete, the project will then move to finishing works to include the ceiling, windows, choir loft, and altar, to name a few. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And the Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has highlighted what she describes as one of the most bold and significant responses from the United States to the governments in the region. Mottley says she has been blunt and frank when she feels the region is not being listened to or not being heard, but she says a letter received from the U.S. government offering support for CARICOM countries is significant. Reading the letter, Mottley said it's a framework for a conversation and CARICOM heads must meet to respond appropriately to the U.S. letter. So what sort of assistance is the U.S. government offering to CARICOM governments?
The United States of America has in this letter made it very clear that for this period of time, that those countries, Barbados and the Bahamas, should be able to access funds, concessional funds from the World Bank going forward. Similarly, they have also added that in addition, we will not object on the basis of income classification to borrowing by members from the Inter-American Development Bank to assist with economic or health recovery efforts. This is also substantive for us, and this is what we were asking for, like with the exceptional access to the World Bank, and we too have gotten it with respect to this letter. They continue, we have engaged with the World Bank staff to impress upon them that economic reform programs that can be supported by the international financial institutions should receive necessary and appropriate financing consistent with the World Bank's commitments on support to small states under the recent capital increase package. We urge you as Chair of CARICOM to encourage those countries to engage constructively with the international financial institutions, including the IMF, on the type of strong reforms to public finance and governance that you are implementing in your own country. To address immediate liquidity needs, the United States has leveraged its leadership at the IMF to support a total of $1.7 billion in new emergency funding for Caribbean countries: Bahamas, Barbados, Dominica, the Dominican Republic, Grenada, Haiti, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines have benefited from IMF emergency funding to address the humanitarian and economic ramifications of COVID-19 pandemic. For the poorest countries in the region, The United States has advanced the G20 and Paris Club debt service suspension initiative. 5 CARICOM member states are currently eligible, specifically St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Haiti. For countries in the region not eligible for the debt service suspension initiative, but which face debt service constraints, the United States will support swift debt rescheduling through the Paris Club. We encourage potential recipients to develop an economic reform program that can be supported by the IMF and to work with their non-Paris Club bilateral creditors and private sector creditors to provide appropriate and comparable treatment. They then go on to encourage member states to be aware that they can be in touch with the Department of Treasury's Technical Assistance Office that is already standing ready to give assistance in areas ranging from economic reforms, tax administration, public financial management, capital market development, and infrastructure.
Motley says these are challenging times economically for the region, and countries have an opportunity to restructure their economies to their benefit.
Does it come without difficulty? No, it doesn't. Are there difficulties before us economically? Of course there are. Our economies cannot see the decline in revenue and the expansion in expenditure that we are seeing in the last few months, and it be business as usual. And it is best that always we work together, particularly on those types of reforms that will help make us more resilient to be able to take advantage of the circumstances necessary to propel growth in a post-COVID-19 environment. Does it mean that we have, therefore, to sit down and negotiate and see how best it works for us? Of course. And even if we have to relate to international parties, we do so on our terms in circumstances that allow us to be able to frame what is best for us and how best do we restructure aspects of our economy, aspects of our debt, to be able to allow us to meet the needs of our population going forward.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better. A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. The Melissa Skerritt Foundation rolls out a plan to secure the vulnerable elderly population this hurricane season. Liat employees facing a 50% cut in severance payments. And Dominica State College launches a certificate course in agriculture in response to public demand. You may access the news on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.